Welcome back to The Patient Magnet. My name is Jared Rohr, the CEO and founder of Aesthetic Conversion. And this whole podcast is how do we make the field of aesthetic medicine simple for you? Today, I am joined by a good friend of mine now. We got to meet like a couple of months ago, and I'm just so fired up for what Sun is doing in the industry. Sun is completely demystifying the K-beauty craze. He is he's seeking to create partnerships from Korea over to America. And there's so many people, so many clients I have that are constantly curious about this. And so I was fired up to be able to like interview you and talk with you about this subject. He's a Forbes 30 under 30, multi-time exit founder. You were born in Korea, right?
Born in Korea, born and raised.
Born and raised, and then you went to college in the States.
And then I spent half and half Korea, US.
Where'd you go to college in the States?
UC Berkeley.
Berkeley, okay, that's great. I'm from Northern California.
Amazing.
Yeah. There's a barbecue place right by UC Berkeley that I was like obsessed with. I can't remember the name to save my life, but it was like some of the best barbecue I'd ever had in my life. Anyway,
maybe, I won't, is it Brazilian barbecue?
It is like a walk-up window. It's gross looking from everywhere, but you eat it and you're like, oh yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. I loved it. Anyway, I'm excited to have you on, Sun. And my goal today is maybe to demystify some of the things that are happening in K-beauty. And we can talk about what you've got going on. Sun is creating partnerships for Americans to be able to go over and study in Korea and learn from literally the top key opinion leaders that Korea has to offer, and to learn from the top educationalists that Korea has to offer. So maybe if you could lead off by just telling us a little bit about the fellowship that you're creating, and then I'm going to pick your brain on everything about K-beauty because I'm fascinated.
All right. Well, I am building a bridge pretty much. And to put it very simply, fellowship is clinical immersion and exchange that's going to happen between Korean pioneers in K aesthetics or clinical K-beauty, however you want to call it. For the past 20 years, right, 2 decades, Korea has kind of led the way. And I'm connecting the pioneers who have moved that industry in Korea with American leaders and med spa operators and medical directors and nurse practitioners, right? It's a 30-person intimate cohort 5-day program in Korea in October. It's going to be filled with clinic exclusive tours. There's going to be trainings, master classes, obviously the cultural immersion experiences as well. And
so not only are they getting to be trained by these people, they're going into these people's clinics and seeing hands-on. Exactly. Hey, here's what it looks like. Here's what a day in my clinic kind of looks like.
Right. And it's designed to be so you can see the system from start to finish. So you are seeing how it operates. You're learning the concepts behind it. You are meeting with vendor innovation partners, skincare, formulation, devices, injectables, etc. And then you get to experience the treatment yourself, not only learn it, right?
You get treated as part of this?
You get treatments.
Sick.
And because, getting it, you're experiencing yourself is how you really internalize it, I think. And then, we're going to wrap it up with, okay, how do you implement all of these things that we learned into your practice in America? So a complete arc, so to speak.
What are some of those massive differentiating factors between what's going on with K-beauty versus what we're already doing in America?
What I would say is the industry maturity that has happened for the past 20 years and how the system has been built. It's I think what people are seeing from the US and looking at Korea is just the final kind of output of what is happening. But really, it's the whole system underneath. From how does consumers and patients think about it, right? Which is more so from a preventative lens, and then how do providers, given that these patients in the market are thinking about it that way, how do they approach the care and the delivery itself? And so, building the consultation system around long-term care, and instead of just minimal or corrective one and done type of procedures. It's more so like,
Hmm.
okay, you might walk in with a patient might walk in with a desire to do specifically like lifting, but then from a consultation perspective and from a provider perspective, they will do holistic, thorough consultation and see that, hey, you know what? Actually, addressing the skin barrier first will actually give you
Hmm.
a longer, more impactful results before just doing
Mm.
it lifting right away.
So, in America, there's a bunch of different archetypes of the type of patient that is requesting treatment. Where some,
Mhm.
I mean, there are people that just want to look like a cartoon of themselves. Like they just want to
Yeah.
look like a caricature, or they're chasing a trend so they can look specifically like somebody. Is that not necessarily the case in Korea? Is it almost all preventative and all maintenance and all how do I look like the current version of myself kind of a thing?
Yeah, in the philosophy itself in Korea is a lot different, I think, right? And I think you rarely get to see, um, I think in America right now, people are moving towards a place where, I actually don't want to look all like done, done up, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to look like I got a facelift with
Hmm.
like the Botox, the nose job and the lips and things like that. Um, I think in Korea, people have kind of taken this approach of let's practice it every single day, so that the long term skin health is preserved. And let's really understand the ingredients behind what I'm doing every day. Let's build a routine around it. And let's participate in my 10-year results, right? And so this mindset and philosophy in Korean word, it's called 관리. I'm trying to really like bring that to the surface in America because it's such a meaningful word.
Hmm.
And it basically the concept behind it is like it's proactive, preventative, professional care that you start earlier and do it consistently. And then of course, there's a corrective interventions, dermatological, um, you know, visits or corrections, but those are done also pretty thoughtfully and in within the whole system of uh, long-term skin health care, right? And
Yeah. So
so
what's the word again? Quali. How do we say it? Say it again.
quali,
Quali.
like
How do we
like
spell this?
like Wali, but put a G in the front.
Oh, with a G. Okay, got it. Uh,
Quali,
Quali. Got it.
yeah,
And so the concept behind it is more or less how do we take care of the whole patient and not just treat the symptom?
right, exactly. And there's,
Mm.
I think well, there's another clip that I would like to share of the father of Korean aesthetics talking about this exact topic of 관리
Mm.
and how,
Mm.
patients in Korea think about it as like they're saving up their beauty bank accounts, right? And
Mm.
and that's actually what the patient actually told Dr. Jung, who I'm talking about, during their treatments and consultations. And, this patient has been seeing this doctor for like 10 years, right?
Mm.
And it's like, hey, this feels good to like really like save up in my beauty bank. And like, I feel like,
Mm.
um, yeah, it's like off topic, but I think quality is, and skincare and quality is more so like preventative therapy or going to the gym over, just going to a skincare clinic or going to
Yeah.
a hospital.
So actually, my patients told me that she's doing quality, and then she's feels like setting up an installment savings account. So you like save it up, and then you see the results later on. So
It's almost like the Korean philosophy of how to take care of a patient in K
Hmm.
beauty can be summarized in that one word.
Yeah, and then really,
That's
I
so
think
cool.
the advantage, yeah, exactly, and that's why we're trying to really like educate around quality. Um, I think a big part of that also is sequencing, right? I think in America, we're patients are just starting to really ask these questions like, how do I stack the right treatments? How do I sequence things
Right.
correctly with multiple modalities? And that's the biggest kind of change or the shift that is happening in America from fixing one feature to improving overall over time, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that Korea has really like adopted well over the past 10, 15 years. And yeah, and so I would say the most Korean part of this whole quality thing is that sequenced care and how the clinician or the provider combines different treatments like IVs, devices, and injectables. Skincare is also part of obviously the treatment at the professional care level. But yeah, so
Yeah.
those treatments, the timing of it, and then home care too. Home care is a big, big kind of like growing space in Korea. And, a lot of these big Korean beauty brands like APR and, Amora Pacific, Kudai Global, like these companies are seeing that trend happening in Korea, right? And so I think that trend is going to maybe come to America maybe in like 5 to 10 years. I don't think America is there yet from a consumer maturity and savviness perspective. We need the
Why do you,
basic education.
that's what I was gonna say. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because we're a little slap happy on like we just kind of grab the next sexiest product rather than like, okay, this is actually what matters for my skin? Like, are we basically just trying to grab the new shiny object rather than taking care? Like, what do you think the delta is between America having that mindset and those products available versus where Korea is currently at?
I think a lot of it has to do with cultural influences.
Mm-hmm.
Korean culture does care a lot about skincare, for example. And I know many of my Korean friends with resonate with this. But for example, my grandma used to tell me, hey, there's two things in life it's not a waste to spend money on, is food and skincare, right?
Mm.
That's kind of like, it's ingrained in the culture. So that's why Korean culture has really adopted innovation in aesthetic medicine a lot more, I guess, a lot earlier. And so it doesn't have anything to do with like the savviness of the consumers themselves. I think in fact, American consumers are a lot savvier and more innovative than people outside of the world, right? It's just that within this beauty sector, I think Korea just wanted to get a head start. And so it
I
did.
agree. And we're starting to hit a longevity and like we're starting to hit a lot more cultural norms where people are like waking up to the fact that it's like, oh, like being healthier and looking your best and feeling your best are a little
Hmm.
bit more valuable than feeling kind of good in a moment of
Right.
of compromise. So
Yeah.
I guess that's another great question too. Is not to pat myself on the back about this question. Is in America, there's a lot of studies right now that like the market adoption for aesthetics for us is couldn't be less than 3% of the
Mm-hmm.
population or 4% of the
Mm-hmm.
population for like the
Oh
medical
yeah.
aesthetics field, where it's like Galderma put out a study where they said something to the extent of like, there's only been 4 million or something like that people treated, but there's another 20 that are considering being treated at some point.
Hmm.
You know, what,
Mhm.
yeah, what kind of numbers do you think Korea has versus that,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
like
percentage wise market adoption?
this is a very interesting statistic that I know off the top of my head is Korea versus US, right? In Korea, about a little bit more than 0.5% of GDP per capita people spend on medical aesthetics. Whereas in America, it's less than 0.1% of GDP per
Whoa.
capita that is being spent on average, right?
Wow.
And so my bet really is that okay, already in America, medical aesthetics market is a $20 billion market, I believe, according to McKinsey, right?
Correct.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Now, given that my bet is that American consumers are going to also spend as much as Korean consumers do out of their per capita GDP, it's a minimum 5x increase over the next couple of years. And And so that, that's 20 times 5 is $100 billion market minimum. But I don't think that taps, I don't think that taps into all these different trends like wellness, longevity, looks maxing, right? Like there's these trends happening.
Guys like you and I have already fully looks maxed at this point. We're already
Oh
obviously at
yeah.
our peak.
Nice.
Yeah. No need for any of that.
Honestly.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Wow. Okay, so
But I
now
think,
the
yeah.
Korean. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think, one thing I forgot to mention is like that as the market grows, what is needed for that to happen is
Hmm.
better education and more information, right?
Yeah.
Because people are overwhelmed, right? There is a lot of information. Yes, we're all savvy, but because of social media, because of all these people, like just like telling you so many things all at once, it's there's yeah, we are overwhelmed, and so we need kind of good education from both sides of the dynamic, like the patients and the providers, um, and to make sense of it all, right?
Yeah.
And so, in Korea, I think K Beauty gave consumers a lot richer um, vocabulary, so to speak.
Hmm.
And so, social media, um, and then social media, when it kind of like comes into America, it just kind of like strips that out of context. So, like salmon sperm, like what the heck is
Right.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like catchy little phrases.
They're trying so hard to rebrand it too. Like you see them at every conference, and you'll see Regeron. It'll be like salmon DNA. It'll be like just like and I want to almost be like, guys, just lean into the sperm thing. Like it's like everyone's talking about it. I understand them not wanting that to be on their brand,
Yeah.
but everyone talking about it is what made it so famous in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. There's pros and cons, I think.
Hmm.
And but I think it's good, right? It's good that the discovery has been accelerated.
Right.
But it's dangerous when the judgment comes from
Of course.
those.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but
What
sorry for
what are
interrupting.
some of the No, that's okay. What are some of the Korean brands that people should be looking out for? The ones that are like making their way over the States that, you're liking what they're doing over here, you're liking their transition over, or you're like, that they're trying to get in, and it's like, oh man, once
Mm.
so and so gets there, watch out.
I mean, yeah. There's so many things on the radar. Everything from devices and injectables to
Hmm.
products formulation and even research, right? But I don't want to like I don't know like I don't think there's like specifics that there's so many, but of course
Yeah,
there's like Regeron, right? Like
of course. They're
um
here. Yep.
they kind of fumbled a little bit, which is why they're not like the injectables is not fully FDA approved, and they have to pay millions to really fix their mistake because they tried to
Mhm.
kind of slide in, right? Um,
Yeah. It's
and
hard.
and then
But getting an injectable approved in the States is tough. I mean, there's an
right,
extremely large company in the field right now that is already established, and they were trying to get a new approval on a new injectable, and they tried to
hmm
borrow the FDA clearance from a previous one, where they're like, "Oh, it's similar to that one. Let's just borrow that research." And the FDA shut them down
yeah,
and said, "No, you got to do 5 years of trials until you finally get this thing approved." And
right,
so it is hard to get
yeah,
a product approved
yeah.
in the States.
I bet. And so I know that Regeron, but it has gone through this a little certain mistakes, but then they are coming. They are going to be FDA approved, and that's something that and majority of American consumers have not experienced at the full efficacy of
Yeah.
of the injectable um, form of like PDRN, let's say, right,
Mm.
and Regeron. So I think that's very exciting. There's so many like really cool products coming out of Korea, led by companies like, Amora Pacific and um, um, yeah, like I said, Good Eye Global and these companies that are product focused and formulations focused. And then also I think like a lot of Americans have really cool, innovative ideas on how to create skincare that is right for the American consumers. right? Because
Yeah.
like one thing that you have to understand is Korea is very homogenous. And if you got your product right for one person in Korea, you pretty much solve the entire market, right? Everyone
Whoa.
everyone looks the same. I'm Korean, so I can say
You
this.
said it. Yeah, you said it, not me. I didn't. Let it be on the record. I think every Korean is very different.
um, but it's very homogenous, right? Right, and so there's no skin tone diversity that we see in America. There's, or not no, but like a lot less of it. And so what we learn from Korea has to also pass through that lens too. And what I'm saying is like is American, physicians or providers, like they have really good ideas on how to build the right skincare products for their patient audience. And that can be a good collaboration with these ODMs and these manufacturing formulation facilities and brands in Korea who have really like uh, broken this down into efficient science so that
Hmm.
collaborating together in that sense, Korean formulation manufacturing with American ideas and insights, I think will create a lot of value in terms of products on
Yeah.
over the next couple of years too. So I think those are also the things that we're trying to showcase at the fellowship, right? We're going to have a curated set of vendors that you can meet with and network with for these purposes so that you can walk away to back home with these contacts and deals and really like set yourself apart, right? And
Yeah.
become that expert in clinical K beauty in your local
Yeah.
area.
What it feels like to me, the biggest gap, yes, for sure, it's like the technology you have available on your side. I think the things that you guys have done over there. But what I'm just stuck on right now is the absolute cultural difference in how Americans think about beauty and longevity versus what it feels like how Koreans think. And what I'm also assuming how uh, Korean injectors and physicians and providers um, market to their patients and consult with their patient. Because in America, a lot of times it's a one-off. Somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I just want my lips a little bit bigger," and they go, they pump them up and they say, "Great, get back out there," And is that every case? No, but a lot of the kind of, I think a lot of the more influential key opinion leaders in our space are trying to really push like, hey, have a treatment plan, have a long-term goal with this individual.
Mm-hmm.
This is not some like Build-A-Bear workshop where you're just
Yes.
pumping yourself up. This is a long-term thing. And what you tell me if I'm wrong, but what I'm catching the sense of is that culture is already like deeply rooted in how people treat in Korea, where it's like that's kind of just standard of care is everybody is in it for the long haul, not
Yeah.
just, I'm going to try to fix this one little nose, deficiency I've got really quick and then I'm done. Is that right? Am
Exactly.
I barking up the right tree here? Is
It's
that right?
yeah, totally. And the consistent education and routines, that's what makes it approachable and like actually better long term LTV business strategy perspective as well, right? Um, but yeah, like for a specific example, I know like my mom, her friends, like they will do like laser toning every 2 weeks. They will do like a skin booster every couple months, and maybe like some really intensive lasers every 6 months to 1 year or 2 years. Obviously like facials and very minimal maintenance, maybe like every other day, every couple of days. So like that, I think is already just grounded or adopted in Korea over the past
Mhm.
10, 15 years.
Yeah, it feels like I think, for any clinician watching this, I think yes, there's lots of secrets for how treatments are done over in Korea, and there's lots of secrets for how they have really like cracked the code, on beauty and science. But that cultural seeding of your beauty matters, that cultural seeding of you taking care of yourself regularly matters. Man, if we can get that into American culture, if we can push that conversation
Hmm.
across the board, I think we won't recognize our market in 3 years, even 5 years. That's probably one of the greatest things we can take away from the Korean market too, is just the
Oh yeah,
cultural inundation of we
yeah,
take
and
care of ourselves.
Yeah, and I think a practical way to do this is to obviously give patients, a 12-month plan, right? Um, no matter how new or old the patient is to your practice, um, I think pushing it that way is good. And actually, Dr. Eunice Park, who is uh, one of the speakers who is well known in America, I believe, from a provider's perspective, because she is the
Hmm.
first to bring K beauty or clinical K beauty inspired clinic to America, and she operates these
Yeah.
clinics in New York. And um, she was speaking. She will be speaking at fellowship, and so she kind of like gave a little preview of her thoughts on this topic too. And she also offers like a 12-month plan.
We have a 12-month membership plan that allows for them to more easily be able to practice quality and also see realistic transformational results.
Yeah, basically, replace just like a menu and, oh, do this, do that conversation with like drawn out long-term conversation around goals and, yeah, long-term plan, because that's how it happens in Korea as well, even at factory clinics, right? Even
Yeah.
at factory clinics, you are spending like at least 30 minutes doing consultations.
What's the selection process from a Korean, if an average, citizen in Korea is looking for an injector, or a
Hmm.
provider, like, are they looking for the service they're looking for, the outcome they're looking for, or are they just looking for the top rated person kind of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think they are looking for someone they can trust and someone that is, you know, um, has a lot of expertise, right? And so, but it's I think the landscape is different in Korea than the US, because in Korea everything is MD only by law.
Oh,
And
okay. That's
so
interesting.
it's just, I guess, from a consumer perspective, they just have they're just, the supply is just like overall maybe higher standard of care,
Hmm.
by just given.
Purely credentialing. Yeah.
Yeah, just credentially, because of course, like there's extremely talented and highly experienced non-physician providers, especially in the
Hmm.
U.S. In
Right.
Korea, it's just kind of like a little bit um, very restrictive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is in Korea. So it's only MDs that can inject. Do they have
yeah.
aesthetic fellowships in Korea? Like, do they have like aesthetic programs that they learn through, or do they have to get all of that non-elective after they've already gotten their MD?
So the way it kind of works is these MDs or physicians go through training at these private clinics by practicing there. Um, and for example, these bigger clinics where patients come in and out, in really, really crazy high volumes, right? So that they can
Hmm.
get the experience,
Yeah.
and then they will go out and open their own private clinics. Is kind of how it works in Korea. Um, and so, yeah, I think the injector training, hands-on training, devices, et cetera, that happens at the clinic with the
Hmm.
patients.
So
Um,
after
yeah,
after they've gotten their medical degree, so it's similar in the States. States doesn't have like some sort of a specialty in aesthetics that you can, do a fellowship technically in the States for. It's like you get it, and then you
right.
get all of your aesthetics education from. In
Hmm.
our
In the
case,
industry.
it's typically
Hmm.
just going to courses, going to conferences, and then you learn, and then you eventually just start doing it. Hopefully, you're doing it under somebody's wing and not just
Hmm.
fully guessing on your first job as a as an injector.
Hmm.
But in the States, yeah, it's all, nobody gets it in their primary schooling, either. However, it seems like
Yeah.
there's a little bit more of a system, on your guys' side of going to some
Yeah.
sort of a larger space first, get your feet wet, and then go
Yeah.
off on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Exactly.
with
Well,
now with things
mhm.
like the glass skin trend, and facials and all of that. With it's not the same credentialing for estheticians, right? Like you guys just have estheticians the same way that we do, right?
Well, when it comes to just like facials,
Yeah.
yes, there are estheticians that perform just, I don't know, like a mask. Um, so that, sheet masks, essence, right? Like these, just like applying products and massaging. Yeah. So that does happen, right? But then that was kind of like a previous wave. In Korea, consumers don't really do that anymore. It's kind of built into the medical aesthetic holistic practice, right?
Okay.
And so, yeah, that I think that was like the first wave, or like, early. And there's like a really good snippet I would love to share of the father of Korean aesthetics talking through the history over the past 20 years, how Korea got to where it is. But basically, early in 2010s or before that, there was these like skincare like shops, right? That was doing these things. But then really it moved over to more and more medical aesthetics. And then now it's at a premium care era, according to him, is how he calls current consumer landscape in Korea, where it's people want the whole, gamut of treatments under one roof with the right provider. And that the reason why that happens is because people understand that whole prevention, sequencing, and multiple technologies all working together to create that long-term.
So you don't call it medical aesthetics in Korea, you call it premium care?
Oh, no. It is called like aesthetic medicine, medical aesthetics. Okay. But he calls the current era like premium care era. Yeah. Which is very interesting.
Fascinating. I think that's a great way to define it too. It's a part of kind of the premium care sphere too, because longevity and aesthetics and all of that kind of fit into that. Okay, so what are some things that what are some things over the next 5 years that you think K-beauty is going to be pushing into medical aesthetics in America?
Yeah, like I said before, I think these trends of just like how Korea went from like these dermatological led to these aesthetics holistic clinics that can do everything from minimal simple facials to lasers. I think those kind of establishments with the modalities that diverse modalities within and the technologies within one clinic, I think those will be where consumers really aim to go to in America. And so I think really being on top of the innovation and bringing that innovation to to the practice, right? And also really like deeply educating about the long-term care to the patients is how America evolves over the next 5 years. And I think that's like the next 3 to 5 years, but then immediately now I think nothing is stopping anybody from adding just a couple of key, I guess, perspectives into their current patient education, right? Like, okay, why are we doing this? And then what are we doing next? And what are we going to pause on? What foundation are we going to set right now? Like these kinds of conversations, I think, can be implemented right now, because that helps to have the patient think about things from a long-term perspective too, and think about it from a sequence perspective. And then, that immediately changes the relationship. And that also is conducive to bringing in more other technologies into the patient sequence plan, and then build trust and repeat relationships. So
Now, so in Korea, all of this is like built culturally. So like consulting for somebody from the beginning to the end, kind of like you said there, as well as like, you know, trendy modalities coming over. But also,
Mhm.
the big theme I'm hearing here about the biggest difference between K beauty and American beauty is just how do we treat the whole patient, and everybody kind of, you know, has this sense of long-term care. Um, when I, my problem as a marketer is that in Korea, it's cultural. It's like that's the greatest marketing, is that it is just who we are, kind of a thing. And so I'm curious to know what marketing in Korea even looks like, and
Mm.
how they are communicating that message effectively to people. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know, there's a lot of nuances to it, but an interesting insight would be things like Botox
Hmm.
are considered like free marketing freebies, right? Because it's
Oh,
like, yeah,
just come get free Botox.
yeah, come get free Botox. That
So
sounds unfathomable in America right now,
yes, it
right?
does. It's unbelievably expensive to run that kind of
Right.
a deal.
But because patients do care about long-term care, and because when someone is getting free Botox at clinic X, their long-term care is going to happen probably at clinic X. And so
Whoa.
Botox just, you know, oftentimes becomes like lead generation tool. It's very
So
interesting.
it's practically free, at pretty much every clinic, like as
I
a
mean,
lead
like,
magnet, as this step
there's
one.
many clinics that do that. Yeah. It's
Whoa,
very
that is
interesting.
your first full session is free.
Like, some clinics do absolutely free. Some clinics do like insanely low prices, nearly
Oh
free,
my
right? Which is very,
gosh.
very, it makes sense because there's nuances to Korean market, right? It's highly competitive, super highly competitive,
Hmm.
right? There's every building in Gangnam has like 10 different like clinics. Um, so yeah, and so like you kind of have to run these promotions, but a lot of Americans think that this is kind of like you know, like unhealthy price wars all the way to the bottom. Like people think about it that
Yes,
way,
they do.
but it's
No, they
really
do.
not, um, because from a perspective of holistic care, um, you know, um, Botox does people actually don't do Botox like all that much. Um, it's not a big high impact part of a holistic long term plan. So let's say that,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so because delivering that long term care with these different modalities and lasers and other skin boosters, right? Skin boosters is a big part of care in Korea, and
Mm.
skincare products. Like because of that, it's like yeah, like the value is there, and so it's like why not incentivize and get more patients through the door from a marketing perspective by offering easy to pick up Botox at at near free, right? Like they're losing money on the Botox and
Mhm.
then making money on these long-term care.
All the different
So
things that they're doing. That is fascinating. If I suggested to any clinic that I work with to
yeah.
just give away free talks, they'd have my head. But I do think there's something to how you lead the patient, where if you had a crazy offer like that, it's your very first talks appointment is free, but
Hmm.
then everything leading up to that appointment, they're getting videos of you talking about, hey, here's how it works here. We have this standard of care where we are taking care, like where we are taking care of your skin. We're taking care of your health. We're taking care, like, it's like all of this kind of pre up to the appointment. It's not,
Hmm.
to where the patient, by the time they actually sit their butt down in the clinic, they have reverence for what they're getting. And they're like, wow, I'm really excited to
Exactly.
learn from you. And I'm excited to go on this journey of becoming better. And I'm so grateful that you gave me the free Botox. Like, yeah, I think if they led them well in Korea, it sounds like they don't have to, not they don't have to as much, but like there is a little bit more cultural. But in America, there's probably an opportunity to, if you wanted to do some sort of insane lead magnet like that, that you could probably educate your way to that first appointment by sending videos and texts. Like you could automate the whole thing so that by the time the patient sits in the chair, they're ready for you to fix them. They're ready for you to say, okay, here's what you need for your whole beauty and longevity regimen.
Mhm.
That is super powerful. And
I think you
if they can
explained
get
it
that, they're going to keep
perfectly.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah. I
gosh.
think you explained it perfectly. And you know, um, yeah, another industry kind of, I guess, like economic consideration has to come into play here, right? In Korea, prices of treatments have come down significantly over the past 10, 15 years from,
Mhm.
you know, competition with supply, and just like accessibility of technology and
Sure.
better manufacturing, et cetera. And so on average, I would say prices of treatments across the board have come down at least like 100%.
Wow.
Or as in like 50%.
50%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, sometimes a lot more. So that is also just by nature of like supply and demand. I think that is inevitable in a way in America too. But it's not a bad thing. It's not something to be fearful of because market is going to get bigger, and
Correct.
long-term care and minimal sequenced care over a long period of time, that actually is the way that, you know, uh,
Yeah.
care is moving. And so I think embracing that is also, or at least like maybe not embracing it now, right? Because their timing is also key too, but really being aware of how that trend is moving and
Yeah.
applying that to your operating strategy now, I think could be really important to think about.
Yeah. And consider that, like, if patients are doing more things on
Mhm,
average with a provider, the cost going down of those things on average is not a bad thing, because then they're sticky. They're staying with you as that provider, where
mhm,
it's like if they have to pay an arm and a leg for every single individual treatment, it's like there's a much higher chance they're going to churn anyway. So like as as longevity and wellness and aesthetics and and skincare all kind of merge into each other and
mhm,
consolidate into this industry, and which you guys have already
mhm.
done there, naturally it will come down to that you can treat the patient long term.
Totally
That's
agree.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's rad. Well, okay, so you've got this fellowship that's coming up in October that I'm fired up about. When we got to talk about this 2 months ago for the first time or whatever, I was like, this is so rad, because everybody has these big clouds above their head of like, or these big question marks above their head of like, oh, how do I get into K beauty? How do I learn from what they're doing over there? And I think you building that bridge is
Mhm,
is beautiful. And so you kind of touched on it earlier. You talked about some of the benefits, but now that everyone's heard this whole conversation, maybe based on the points that we've identified, what it sounds like to me, you correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm gonna sell this thing and see if I can sell it. So if you
thank you.
come and what are we're calling it the the Vera Fellowship, right?
Yes.
The Vera Fellowship. If you come to the Vera Fellowship, you get to stay in Korea for 5 days, first of all, which is awesome. You are straight up going to some of these clinics to see how they treat and create long-term care plans for people. You're going to see how they market directly to patients, how they have effectively embedded this culture of beauty and personal care into the country. You're also going to get to see the most impressive devices, the most impressive technology in skincare and injectables that is available anywhere on the planet. And you're going to meet some of the top minds in medical aesthetics, where they're not only like, yes, they're marketing well and they're treating people well, but they also just know they also just know how the body works a little bit better than we do. I mean, maybe they know how aesthetics works a little bit better than we do, so that patients can achieve better outcomes. And you're going to get 5 days with those people. That is unbelievable. Plus, on top of that, you're going to get to connect with all the companies that they're referencing the whole entire time. You're going to get relationships with some of these people, like, well, Redron's already here, but Amore Pacific will be there. Is that right? And Good Eye Global will be there. I've got them written down. But you get to connect with the Korean companies that I'm assuming a lot of them are also wanting to move more stuff over to the States anyway. So
Exactly.
It's an unbelievable opportunity. Did I miss anything interesting?
You've crushed
Like,
it. You've crushed
oh,
it.
did I? Okay.
You
I'm just a fan of what you're doing. I think
curated
it's so
dining,
cool.
right? Korean tasting menus, etc.
Oh,
Cultural
that's
stuff. Obviously, we got the hotel stay at Joseon Palace, which is the most the best, the most epic hotel in Korea. It's a Marriott luxury collection, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, you get airport pickup, so the logistical things. If that matters, I think it matters.
It does. It's a perfectly white glove experience
Right.
because you fly to another country and you worry like, am I going to get stolen at the airport by a taxi cab? You worry am I going to stay in a crappy hotel? Like, did I guess wrong at what hotel I should stay at? And you guys have thought of everything. So they get there,
Mhm.
they get picked up and they go to the most beautiful hotel in Seoul.
Everything is guided once you arrive at the airport.
That's awesome. Hands
Yeah.
off. I love it.
And really, it's about the connection, right? Like, I don't think anybody else is doing this to connect the pioneers who run and operate the biggest aesthetic brands in Korea, meeting with, a cohort of US forward thinkers. And that collaboration and friendship, lifelong friendship, I think is really what I want to help to facilitate. And
that is awesome.
That's how I think the world grows together.
Yeah.
Or the aesthetics world.
I think that's how the world grows together. I think you're 100% right. So it's October 20th through the 24th. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do they sign up? They go to verafellowship.com. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Vera fellowship.com. And we have a discount code, right? For the podcast?
I guess we do now.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Use the code. We talked about this just beforehand, but use the code AC500, AC500 to get $500 off the fellowship.
Yes, sir.
Killer. Yeah, go and sign up there. I'm so grateful, son, that you took the time. I'm grateful to know you. First of all, I think what you're doing is awesome.
Same here.
I'm extremely passionate about the founder-led business. I'm obsessed with the person who is betting the farm on themselves, and they're mortgaging their house to build their business. I want that person to win, and you creating these connections and helping our culture expand so that, our field of aesthetics can grow, and bridging that gap is massive. And I think it's going to help so many people. So I'm just grateful that you took the time to even be on the podcast today. And I hope to see you in Korea. I won't be able to go this year. Unfortunately, I've got another commitment. But for sure in future years, I'll be there. 100% I'll be there.
I just realized I have this.
Oh, there
on
it
my
is.
Screen.
Vera Fellowship.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's been I love meeting you, sharing my story, and thanks for listening to my story. And you've been so helpful with just advice overall and operationally about life in this industry, the business. I think surrounding myself with you and your help has been great. So thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're doing a good thing. Grateful for you. So thank you everybody for watching The Patient Magnet. If you loved what we said, throw a comment down below. If you disagree vehemently and hated what we said, throw another comment down below. I'll fight you in the comments. You buckle up. Or if you have a friend who's interested in K-beauty, send this over to them. Share this with them. Subscribe to the podcast, and make sure that you go over to verafellowship.com. All right. Thanks everybody.